said.
You'll see.
It hit me on the porch steps, before I was even through the front door. I'd never been anywhere near a dead body, much less smelled one. But what else could that acrid nastiness be? A gag reflex pulsed in my throat. I switched to mouth breathing and fought the urge to run back to my safe little cubicle in Boston. What was I doing here? I was a computer jockey, not some CSI wannabe. Up until 2 hours ago, I'd been a lowly honors intern at the Bureau field office, focusing on cyber forensics. Clearly, I was here to look at some kind of digital evidence, but knowing that didn't make it any less bizarre to walk into my first real crime scene. The house was almost painfully ordinary, considering what I knew had gone down here just a few hours earlier. The living room was mostly empty. I saw all the expected furniture, the art on the walls, the fan of cooking magazines on a glass coffee table. Nothing at all looked out of place. Most of the action was centered around the kitchen straight ahead. I'd noticed police officers stationed outside the house, but inside it was all FBI. I saw blue ERT polo shirts for the evidence response team, techs in white coveralls, and a handful of agents in business attire. Voices mingled in the air while I tried to get my bearings.
No signs of a struggle, someone said. We've got some scuff marks here on the sill and over by the table. Looks like the back door was the point of entry. Must have shot this poor guy right through the window.
Yep. They all sounded like they were discussing the score of last night's game, not a multiple homicide. It just added another dreamlike layer to the whole thing. The lights were off in the kitchen, and one of the techs was using some kind of black light to illuminate spatters on the linoleum floor. It was blood, I realized, fluorescing in the dark. I could just make out a half-empty glass of milk on the table and a sheet-covered body on the floor, next to a tipped-over chair. I was still standing in the doorway, silent until one of the bunny-suited techs brushed against me on his way out. I started to speak and had to clear my throat and try again just to get the words out. Excuse me? I'm looking for Agent Keats, I said to him. Even then, my voice sounded so small, so unlike me. I wasn't used to feeling this way, and I didn't like it one bit.
Sorry, don't know who that is,
the guy said and kept moving. Somehow, I'd expected for everything to make sense here, and that I would know what to do as I went along. Instead, I was left standing there with a growing sense that I'd been dropped off in the wrong nightmare.
Hoot! Up here!
I heard, and turned to see one of my supervisors, Billy Keats, at the top of the stairs. Thank God. He hurried down to meet me.
You ready for this?
He said, handing me a pair of latex gloves matching the ones he was already wearing. I put them on. His demeanor was all business, and his face was grim. I'm okay, I said.
You don't look it.
I'm okay, I repeated, as much for myself as for him. If I said it enough, maybe it would come true, and maybe my stomach would stop folding in on itself over and over, the way it had been doing since I'd arrived. Where do you need me?
This way.
He led me up the carpeted stairs, briefing as we went.
We've got one of the victim's cell phones in a Faraday bag. They're just clearing the body now.
The body. Some person who had been alive yesterday, now just the body. But that other phrase, Faraday bag, was like a piece of driftwood, something I could latch onto in the middle of all this unfamiliarity. At least I knew what I was supposed to do with that. A Faraday bag blocks out any digital signals and preserves the device in question exactly as it was found until it can be forensically examined.
Eventually, I'm going to want you to cover every machine in the house, but this phone is going to be your primary concern.
We passed 2 open bedroom doors along the upstairs hall. I told myself to keep my eyes straight ahead, but they didn't obey the impulse. Instead, I stole a glance into each room as we passed.